Keep your radio dial right here. You're locked into the hottest news station on the planet. Hot 702.5 in FM sound. Blazing today's hip hop, R&B, and pop music. Keeping your radio on fire. Bringing you the hottest, realest, riskiest talk shows live 24/7 on hot1025fm.com.
Laugh Therapy. Happy Thursday. Welcome to Laugh Therapy, where we elevate both your mood and your mental one laugh at a time. I am your host, your favorite comedian, Joe King, and I have my beautiful co-host here with me. Tell the people what's up, babe.
How y'all doing? It's Jay, a.k.a. Sunshine.
We have a dope conversation that I feel is definitely necessary for our community, our culture, everyone right now, and that topic is cancel culture. Is it productive? Is it harmful? Has it existed forever? Is it a new phenomenon? We're going to get into all of that. I would love to hear you guys' opinion, so make sure you're engaging with us on Facebook, Instagram. I'm live on my TikTok right now. Again, happy Thursday, guys. We'll be looking for those comments. I definitely want to hear your thoughts. JD, you ready to get into this? Are you excited? How are you feeling about this topic?
I'm so excited. You know this is going to be more than one show, guys.
Yeah. I started doing research on it and getting into it and ended up in a whole rabbit hole. We have so many different opinions and different thoughts on it. But I want to start with just how would you define cancel culture? And do you think it's a phenomenon, or has it existed in some form throughout history?
Cancel culture is a phenomenon, but it is not a new phenomenon. So back in the gap, we used to call it blackballing. Now it has evolved into something different as within our culture, the black culture. That's how we got the culture in the cancel culture. But it's just basically a way for us to hold celebrities and people in entertainment or public figures, period, to some sort of accountability for their wrongdoings. Now, does it go too far? We're going to get into that.
I 100% agree with that, but I also, to get into that, when it comes to celebrities and political figures and things of that nature that are held to such high standard, how do we hold each other accountable? How are we holding each other as a community, as friends, as family, as parents, as whatever accountable? I feel like we don't go through the same extremes socially with one another as we do with these people that did not ask to be placed on the pedestal that they are on. They simply were talented and we placed them on that pedestal ourselves. But again, that is part of the rabbit hole that I ended up going down. I think cancel culture, if I had to define it, I would say cancel culture can be harmful and it can be helpful. It depends on whose hands it's in, if that makes sense. I don't think it depends on the person who did the crime. I think it depends on the people who are trying to hold this person accountable, because where some people are holding people accountable and they're trying to guide with grace, as we should as a society, because the only way that we can grow is through mistakes and knowledge. There are also those people who just want other people to suffer as much as they feel that they are suffering, and they try and use cancel culture and accountability as their way to do that. And that's where it becomes dangerous.
You know what we need? We need like a cancel culture representative.
Yeah, we do. We got to get with the Black Caucus or something and be like, nah.
Yeah, we need like a board of cancel culture so we can make sure it is in the right hands.
100%. As far as if it's a new phenomenon or has it existed throughout history, it definitely has existed throughout history. On my little research, I got into ancient Greece, where back then it would have just been called ostracism. They banished people from the city for up to 10 years based on popular vote. If you did something that went against societal norms back then or went against their beliefs, they could banish you from being able to live amongst them for at least 10 years. And then I got into the McCarthy era, which, if you guys are unfamiliar, I don't know if he was a congressman or a senator, but in the 1950s, he forged an attack or cancel culture against communists and people who had sympathies for communists. These people were blacklisted, blackballed. He used politics to be able to investigate them. They became victims of smears and innuendos and things of that nature. And then, of course, when we started using cancel culture, although it was not called cancel culture back then, was in the 1960s, throughout boycotts and protests to challenge segregation and discrimination. So there have been times where cancel culture was beneficial to us as a culture. And I also want to get into the hypocrisies of cancel culture, because when it is beneficial to us, I feel that we are champions of it. And then when it goes against us and it's time to show that grace, we kind of lack in the grace department when it's someone outside of our community who has violated us as well. So I definitely want to get into some of that. JD, what would you say are some examples of cancel culture that you think are justified?
R. Kelly. Let's start there. I mean, y'all knew it was coming, right?
Why do you feel R. Kelly's being canceled was justified? And do you think that he should be canceled, like just his music, or like everything that he like produced for other people should be canceled as well? Like, where are you on the...
I mean, we're not sitting there looking at writing credits, right? But if I know he is featured on the track, I'm probably not going to listen. Like here at Hot 702.5, we don't play no R. Kelly. And I am in alignment with that.
R. Kelly is muted on this station.
Yeah. And when she told us, I was like, cool, because he does not play in our radios at home, and he never will at this point in time. Now, if that changes down the line, we'll have to have a conversation about that. But yes, R. Kelly was justifiably canceled, and for a good reason.
I would agree with that. Me personally, I agree that canceling R. Kelly was a good move for us. I do agree that muting R. Kelly was a good move for us. But in that, I also have the follow-up question of justice, right? So when he gets out of jail, is he still canceled? He served his time. Is he still canceled amongst the community? Can he still come back and be embraced by the Black community because he served his time? Or when he comes out, is he labeled that forever? There is no growth. There is no recovery from that. There is no healing. There is no welcome back. Is he ostracized in that sense? To you, what do you think, JD?
That's such a hard thing to give an answer right now at this moment, because what's the point of going to jail? To come back rehabilitated, right?
That's what they
claim. That's what they claim jail is for. But is he going to be rehabilitated? How can we measure that? Or is he going to be crucified for his sins forever? That's where we have to determine, all right, he learned his lesson, he served his time, we'll give you another chance. But if we give him, if we give him another chance and he burns us again by doing it again, how should we feel? We should have just kept him canceled the whole time. I can't give you an answer right now at this moment.
You feel like it's a catch-22.
Yeah, because hindsight is 20/20 in the same breath. So I don't think I could give an answer like when he gets out, oh yeah, I can put him back on the radio. I can't say that either, because I still know what he did. And I think the fact that I'm fighting for my life. You didn't even admit to what you did, and it's on tape. That's what bothers me so much. We caught you on tape, my man, and you still not even admitting your wrongdoings and saying you're gonna get help. I'm gonna get past this. I'm going to become a better person. I think so. Yeah. If I had to answer right now, we won't be playing R. Kelly for a very long time.
You're complete on R. Kelly.
How long is he gonna be in there?
I don't know. I don't know how long his sentence was. I remember people praising and being excited that he went to jail. I don't think I was paying attention to how long he was going. I was just excited he was going. He's had too many chances, and he would have to admit it all. Okay, that would be how you would determine whether or not he could be forgiven if he admitted to all of it. I think he did admit to it. I think the part that got me was it wasn't apologetic. Like he was like, yeah, I did that, but like, is that really wrong? You know, like he was just kind of like, I mean, everybody, I like young girls, I like old girls, I like this, I like that. And he tried to make it as though it was just an attraction and something that like we're supposed to be cool with. Like he still admitted that he was messing with young girls, but he was like, I mean, I like young girls, I like old girls, I like everybody, I like women. Nah, bro, those women are 14. Like those girls are 14. That's different, right? So Jess, I want to play, well, JD, I want to play a little game. If you guys were here last week, you guys saw with Carlos, we played a little game just asking him if they were chivalrous or if they were simping. If you did not watch that episode, please go back and watch Chivalry versus Simping. But on this one, it will be called Justified, Unjustified, or Escape Artist. And justified are the people that you feel definitely deserved to be canceled. Unjustified means you did not think that they deserved to be canceled for what they were canceled for. And escape artist means you think they deserved to be canceled and they were not. Our community just turned a blind eye to it. Okay? So we already listed off R. Kelly. We got your opinion on that. The next person on the list is Fabulous. Fabulous, I don't think Fabulous was canceled, but Fabulous, if you guys are unfamiliar, one, he's a rapper, but he had a domestic violence situation where he ended up, I believe, knocking out the tooth of the teeth of the mother of his child. They were supposed to be getting married. We all know.
Pulled a gun on her daddy too.
Yeah, pulled a gun on her father and knocked her teeth out.
Said, "I'll kill everybody."
He was not canceled. He was not canceled. Everybody was like, yo, like Los he losing it a little bit. Is he all right? Like, what happened? There were also a lot of, well, what did she do coming? So in your opinion, should he have been canceled? Was it justified, unjustified? What's your opinion on Fabulous?
Oh, he was an escape artist. Most definitely. Now, there were a lot of women who agreed that he should have been canceled, but he wasn't. We still bumping Fabulous, Fabulous. Yeah, nah, man. Because this wasn't his first instance when we all learned about it. He had been doing a lot of dirt behind the scenes, and that is what just came to light. Because she came out with no damn teeth.
Not no teeth.
The front two are the most important. Are they not? Do y'all agree or disagree? The front two are the most important, and he knocked them motherfuckers back.
There's a whole song about it. All people wanted for Christmas was they
two
front teeth.
And then you pull a gun out on my daddy, threaten to kill it's not even about the cheating. Over and
man,
over
if Fabulous would have put a gun out on my daddy, he would have been canceled in more ways than one.
Yeah, he would have been 6 feet deep.
In more ways than one.
Bingo. That's why I consider him an escape artist, is because he was not canceled, and I think it would have been justified if he was.
For me, I also think he is an escape artist when it comes to that, and he should have. Well, no. I take that back. I don't think he should have been canceled, but I do think he should have been held accountable. I think there was another way to hold him accountable for that instance. I feel like a lot of people are like, well, we don't know what happened, and that's very true. That's very true. But what we do know is enough to make him have to be held accountable. So no, we don't know what Emily did. We don't know what her father did. We don't know what was said. We don't know what triggered him. But what we do know is his response. If no one died before he gave that response, his response was too much. Yeah. If he did not lose someone in that instance, like they didn't kill somebody that was important to you, your response was way too much for pulling out guns and knocking out teeth. There's nothing that she should have been able to say to you. Even if she, pushed you or something of that nature, there's nothing that should have gotten that response, in my opinion. But again, I wasn't there. So I feel like there was a different way to guide him with grace rather than canceling him per se. Because we all do make mistakes, which brings me to...
That's a repeated one, though. I don't know.
Which brings me to the next one, Dave Chappelle.
Oh, first of all, I would never cancel Dave Chappelle. I don't know what y'all got going on, but it was unjustified if you did cancel him. And I am part of the LGBTQIA community, and I did not take offense to anything he said or did because y'all weren't really listening. You wanted to be outraged about something, and you shouldn't have been. You should have actually listened and been present in these multiple stand-ups that he mentioned our community and really took in what he said. So
I would agree with that. I think that Dave Chappelle being canceled was unjustified. I won't say that people shouldn't cancel people simply because it didn't offend me. So I won't say like I wasn't offended, so you shouldn't have been offended either. We all have different life experiences. But what I will say is even if you were offended by what he said, listening to Dave Chappelle or going to a Dave Chappelle show is a choice. I don't think that it should have been it should have become that mob mentality. Like, if you support him, then you don't support us type thing. Because like she just stated, we're part of the LGBTQIA plus community. And we very much so still support Dave Chappelle. But then again, I'm also a comic. I understand what it takes to write jokes. I understand what it takes to put your creativity and your love out in front of the public and then say, hey, how do y'all feel about this? So I don't think the feedback that he got back was necessary. I don't think it was positive. I think that people were looking for a reason to be injured, looking for a reason to be offended. And when you go to a comedy show, what we need you to be looking for is a laugh. That's what we need from you. So,
But I also think internally, a lot of people that had a problem with it in our community had a problem with it because he read us so well. Did y'all remember the joke that he made about the community, the LGBTQIA community being inside of the car, and he described each letter in the community so well? I think that is another issue that they had internally. Like, why he read me like that? He shouldn't know me that well. I thought it was absolutely brilliant. Remember, you weren't really feeling Dave Chappelle like that because you hadn't went back.
I didn't think Dave Chappelle was funny.
Yeah, and so I made her.
I wasn't offended, but I didn't think that he was funny. I also did not think Eddie Murphy was funny, but I was basing it on the fact that when I watched them, I'm a 90s kid. When I watched them, I was a kid. I was young, so their jokes didn't make sense to me. They were just... Eddie Murphy was just really animated, but not funny. And Dave Chappelle was not very, well, he was more animated back then, but he still wasn't that funny to me. In adulthood, I had to go back and watch Raw. I had to go back and watch Dave Chappelle, and now he's funny. Back then, I was a child, and I was in a child's place doing child things. I did not think either one of those men were funny or entertaining. Now, I am in the same business as them, and they're some of the leading, they can bring me to tears laughing as hard as I am because I can actually relate to their material now.
Yeah, so that joke was absolutely brilliant, and I just thought that internally they didn't like being read like that. I enjoyed it. And like, if somebody gonna tell me about myself, it might as well be Dave Chappelle. Yeah, and it's on point.
You better get it right. Yeah. So I agree. I think that Dave Chappelle, did you say unjustified?
Oh, most definitely unjustified.
Okay, Dave Chappelle,
there's
unjustified.
Nothing he can do to.
His cancellation was unnecessary, y'all. The next one, and this one is one that kind of hits close to home for me. But I'm gonna get y'all's opinion. How do you feel about the cancellation of Chris Brown?
Oh, it's such a fine line.
Why he still canceled, y'all?
I just
don't understand why
question.
He's still canceled. I understand canceling him in that moment. It was, 2009? He was 17 years old, y'all.
He was 17?
He was 17.
I thought he was older than that.
That's why he didn't go to jail. He got put on probation and all of that. But he was 17 years old. He was a teenager. How many of us made stupid decisions at 17, bro?
Real dumb.
Dumbass decisions. I was in relationships with people I shouldn't have been in relationships with, little fake little boo things. I was trying things I shouldn't have been trying, substance wise. It's 17. We're not, like, your brain is not fully developed until you are 28 years old. Your brain is not able to do the things that it can do now at 31. It wasn't able to do those things at 17. I feel like us still bringing up his and Rihanna's situation is just our unwillingness to let go. Let that man live his life. He has been mainstream canceled, and y'all are still trying to cancel him socially. He has not performed at the Grammys since that situation happened. As far as an invite, he's gotten on the stage because he's featured on other people's songs and they were invited, so they decided they wanted to bring him on because they wanted to perform that song. He has not been booked for another Grammy since. He has not been booked at some of these big AMA awards and things of that nature, I think since like 2012 or something like that. Why is he still canceled? That's the part that I feel is unjustified. I think it was justified. I think now y'all running out. Y'all running out. Y'all running out.
Yeah, I that's going to go into the conversation we're going to have later.
Especially since he's dated multiple celebrities since then. He dated Karrueche. He's had children. He's got his daughter. He's dated several other people, and we have not had that situation resurface as far as domestic violence. Now, granted, he was accused by someone.
Karrueche said he was whooping her ass.
I must have missed that interview because I've never seen Karrueche say that he was putting his hands on her. I heard her say that he was, what was it? She didn't say verbally abusive. She said he was
Didn't she
Something
say he punched her in the
aggressive.
stomach or something like that?
I don't remember that.
Look, I could be wrong. Y'all, in the comments, tell us if we are wrong or right. But from my understanding, he was still doing it with Karuchi. Now, to this day, I don't think he's still doing that. So you can be forgiven if you have evolved and changed and grown as a person. I can forgive you. So I would agree with you on that.
It was justified. I think at this point, we have to allow that man to be a man. He was a kid. He was a child. Just because 18 is the legal age of adulthood does not mean that it is the
He
age
was
that you are
wildin',
mature
though.
enough. He was definitely wilding.
He
But
was
if
throwing
you
rocks at his mama.
can you
He was
imagine if you
wildin'.
had all of that money and all of that fame and everyone loved you and catered to you and whatnot at 17 though? Could you imagine the type of decisions that you would be making, the type of relationship you might have with your family, knowing that you are the breadwinner, knowing that you are the person paying their bills, knowing that you are the person supplying for all of them?
Yeah.
I expect a certain amount of respect. Even at 17, you would feel grown.
I'm not even finna hold you.
At
I had a little
17,
money
you'd be like,
last.
"It's me. What's up?" Like, I'm just saying, you'd be feeling yourself a little bit. And he did. He did.
I had a little money last year, and I fronted on my mama just a little bit, and I still gave it to her. But I was like, I'm the one with the money.
Yeah, so can you imagine being 17 years old with that amount of power? Like, yeah, he's gonna make some mistakes. He's going to mess up. And I feel like at this point, Chris Brown should be forgiven. Even Rihanna has forgiven him. Like, even Rihanna came back and said he was one of her best friends, and they're still, friends. They're still working through their, whatever. And she was still in love with him. But it is what it is. I feel like Chris Brown should be forgiven.
Yeah, y'all let that man live.
Yeah,
now.
let him live his
If
life.
he's grown and he's evolved, yeah, let him live, y'all.
The next person on our list, I'm actually going to skip this
Yeah.
one. I want to go to this one. How do you feel about the cancellation of Sanaa Lathan?
Look, I love Sanaa. I'm not even finna hold you, but you can't bite Beyonce's face
Bit
and get
Beyonce,
away
bro.
with it. Like, you have to have some sort of punishment. I don't know if you should be canceled forever, but you gotta have some sort of punishment. You bite Beyonce in the face.
Like,
right?
are you okay? For starters, for starters, like, that was my first question. Is she okay? Like, who does that? That's a very weird thing to have to admit that you did down the line. Like, for you to even have to explain it. I feel like everybody is sitting there like those people on Dear White People. Like, all the black people are just standing there waiting, arms folded and everything. Because what was the reason, sis?
What was the reason?
What was the reason? You bit Beyonce, bro? So, what do you think? Justified, unjustified, or escape artist?
No, she was definitely blackballed. I don't know. Yeah, we canceled her.
Big time.
Yeah, so I think it at this point is unjustified. Let her live, man. She ain't out here just running up on people, biting them.
She got to live with the fact that she bit Beyonce and we know about it.
Yeah,
Like, I feel like that's
she gotta
punishment
live
enough.
with that. She gotta take that L every single night. Let her live, man. I told you I got bit in the face by a friend. They had just met. Me and this girl had been friends for over a decade, and she bit me in the face. She was also highly intoxicated at the time, and it was really weird. We all just looked back like, did you just bite me?
Yeah, like, I don't know if we'd still be friends after that. Like,
No,
I
we
could
not.
definitely
We not.
see
We not.
why. Well, I could see if Beyonce was like, I don't want to be in a room with her anymore. You probably won't ever get another invitation to do another goddamn thing with Beyonce. So but I think as a community, we can
Let her live, man.
bring her in with grace.
She
Bring her
served.
in.
Yeah, that's the thing though, is we have to start leading with love and giving grace. We all want forgiveness for
I feel
our
like we forget to
transgressions.
uncancel.
Yeah, we want forgiveness for our transgressions, but we want to hold people's feet to the fire all
Yeah.
day, every day, forever. If you got to put the caveat in there, if they have changed and evolved and grown from their mistakes. Now, if they still out here running wild and making the same mistakes, all right, that's completely justified.
I agree with that, which brings us to the next person, Miss Nicki Minaj. Is her cancellation overdue, justified, unjustified, or is she an escape artist?
You know more about this than I do, but I think it's unjustified. She's a bully. Well, no, it's two parts because I forgot about the other part. Okay, so her being a bully to other up and coming female artists and things like that, trying to drop her balls on people. I think that is unjustified to be canceled for, because it's just going to keep her out of work when it comes to certain things. Yeah, she disagrees on that. I just think she got to hold that L when it comes to people wanting to work with her. Ain't nobody going to want to work with her if she's a bully. That's a form of cancellation. Now, where it was justified, her being canceled, which I don't think a lot of people talk about, is her trying to cover up her husband's sexual assault and her brother's sexual assault. Now that's where we can cancel her about, because we all
What do you mean
know
by covering it up?
She tried to pay the victims.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
She tried to pay the victims off. Now I know you were trying to be a good wife or girlfriend and a good sister, but that ain't how you do it. You hold them accountable for their actions and make them feel that you did that, bruh. So if we're going to talk on two ends of the spectrum, this end, I think she needed to be canceled for. Now, how long we cancel her for? Now that's a different conversation.
I think Nicki Minaj is a hypocrite.
Aren't we all?
Yeah, but I think Nicki Minaj is a major hypocrite, because when she came in the game, she came at Lil Kim's neck for the same reason that she is being called a bully right now, because Lil Kim wanted her respect. Lil Kim said, you bit off of a lot of the stuff that I'm doing, and I expect, I would appreciate if you gave at least a little bit of a shout out to the people that, made this possible for you. And Nicki Minaj was like, she's old. Why do I need to do this? I'm the hottest thing now, blah, 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 blah. And now that you 40 years freaking old and it's 18, 19, 20-year-olds ruling this doggone game, she trying to drop her balls on people like you just said. Well, you got to pay homage. Look at them biting off of me. Nah. What happened to that attitude that you had when you were the age of the people that you coming at now? Where was all that rah-rah? What happened to nobody owes them anything? Get old. Exactly. You thought you weren't going to age? So, I think Nicki Minaj is a freaking hypocrite. And then when it comes to the... her brother and her husband, I think she may have been a victim in my head. I think she may have been a victim maybe coming up, and she's still who she is. She still made something of herself. She's still successful, and she's still able to do things. So in her head, she doesn't see it as, I don't know how to explain this. Not necessarily she doesn't see it as wrong. She doesn't see it as something people can't bounce back from. So her ability to empathize or sympathize with these victims is, I'm all right. I was okay. I made it out. You should too. You'll be fine. Let me give you some money, because some money made it okay for me. I'm living my life. I think she was just trying to justify and move forward in that, which doesn't make it right. Like I said, I'm not the biggest. One of my best friends is like Nicki Minaj's biggest fans. There is nothing you can tell him that would make Nicki Minaj wrong in any way. I'm that way about Will Smith. In my personal opinion, I think Nicki is a hypocrite. I think Nicki has been hurt multiple times in her life, and she hurt people. And she is continuing to go through life hurting people. I hope that she gets healing. But in my book, I'm not going to cancel her for that. But that's not someone that I would necessarily want to work with. I'd be open to having a conversation with her and getting deeper in her head. But I definitely think she's a hypocrite. And
so you think she's an escape artist?
I think her cancellation is overdue. I think she should have been canceled a long time ago. That way, by this time, she could have been brought back into the community with love and guided with grace. I think because we didn't cancel her then, we created the monster that she has become.
Okay, so I want to go back to what you said about where you think her mindset was when she was giving the money. Now, was she giving the money and telling them to be quiet, or was she giving the money like, okay,
we don't know.
Hopefully this cushions your blow a little bit.
We don't know. We don't know how the conversation went. We weren't there. According
to Nicki, that matters.
One of them, her brothers, the one that her brother did, apparently Nicki didn't offer her any money. By the time Nicki found out about it, she found out about it with us because it was released online, from what I understand. I'm not sure. But with her husband, she tried to pay her off because she didn't believe the victim. She said she thought the victim.
Would she pay her?
She thought the victim was coming after money, so she offered her money to just make it go away. Like, she thought she was just coming for it. You want money? Here's money. And then I guess the way she went about it, the way Nicki described it, the way she went about trying to give her the money, because I'm sure she had a fucking attitude about it, the girl didn't take the money, and it turned into a bigger thing. You guys can correct me if I'm wrong, if you guys have seen an interview that was different than the ones that I have viewed. But from what I understood, Nicki was like, at first she didn't believe the girl, and was just like, she's coming for money, let's just pay her off because we don't need this drama. And then the girl didn't take the money and turned around and said, no, he did this, I don't want your money. And it was kind of like, oh, and then it blew up in Nicki's face because, of course, the girl came out and said Nicki Minaj offered her money, and everybody was like, what? So I don't know. I think if we would have canceled Nicki Minaj when she came for the Queen, when she came for Lil' Kim, we wouldn't be dealing with this version of Nicki Minaj that we have now. Like, if we would have held her accountable back then. Okay. We creeping up on some time here. I want to get into. Yeah, that's a good one. This next one, which I'm not gonna go first. This next one, Dr. Dre. How do you feel? Is his cancellation overdue? Justified, unjustified, or is he an escape artist?
He is a total escape artist. And yo, I love Dr. Dre too. This hurts me to say. But I feel some type of way listening to his music now, and I just have to just kindly turn it off. Learning how he did his wife, ex-girl, current wife. Yo, he's terrible, and he's still doing it.
Yeah, Dr. Dre been knocking heads against walls for a long time, and we've been allowing.
Yeah, we just been turning a blind eye.
Yeah, like, oh dang, because when I watched the Miss Chalet special, I was like, good Lord, like just random, just you got drunk and decided to hop in the bed and start beating people up. Like what? Where was your help? At some point, I feel like we as a community have to hold people accountable for their actions. Everybody doesn't deserve to be canceled, but there are plenty of people that do, and we're not holding those people to the same standards. It's real
I think
weird.
It's because domestic violence is so normalized. I won't say normalized, but we see it so much in the news and with pop culture that I won't say we sweep it under the rug, but we don't give it the attention that it needs. And we don't give it the condemnation that it needs. Did I use that word correctly?
You did. Condemning.
Yeah. I don't think we give it the energy that it needs, because it needs to be more. That could be your mama. That could be your sister. That could be your daughter. That could be your cousin, auntie, anybody that's happening to. And I don't think people look at it like that. Oh, she chose to be there. You have no idea what these women are going through.
I would agree with that. I have been both. That's why with the R. Kelly and Dr. Dre situation, I have been personally both a victim of both situations of those types of assault. And like I said, I agree 100%. R. Kelly should be canceled. He should continue to be canceled. He should be muted. When he gets out of jail, that's something amongst the community that I think we're just going to have to decide.
That's why we need our representative.
Yeah, individually, you're going to have to decide if you feel that he's changed or not. I don't think that should be a mob mentality decision. As far as Dr. Dre goes, he's canceled in my house. He's canceled in my car. I've already made that individualistic decision myself. Because he hasn't changed from it. He never deviated from it. Every woman that he has been with has come out and said he is abusive, and we're like, oh, we're glad you got out of that. But nobody circles back around and say, hey, Dre, you good? You all right? What's going on? Right? So for me, that's
and there's been no consequences for his actions. None.
Thriving.
We literally watched the documentary of him doing it, and no one was like, maybe we should investigate that.
Somebody check on his wife, right? Okay, we're going to move past the game on that. Do you think cancel culture is an effective way to hold individuals accountable for their actions, or does it perpetuate a culture of fear and censorship?
I think it's a very fine line. Holding people accountable and people being fearful of actually speaking their mind. So with accountability or trying to hold people accountable, that dips into their pockets. And I think that's where they begin to change. Now, are we going to keep holding their feet to the fire and keep holding their pockets to the fire if they have already changed? Like, for example, like with the baby. Mm-hmm. He needed to be canceled a long time ago. Like he killed somebody in Walmart.
He canceled himself. Like he just kept getting deeper and deeper into it to where we could not deny
punching
that you
people.
Need to be canceled. Like he was given ample chances. He could have been an escape artist. They gave him ample chances, and he kept. You kept putting yourself in those positions. So
yeah, he killed somebody at Walmart, and everybody was just like, he bought that life. Wait a minute. Wait a minute.
You know them gangsters.
Yeah.
No.
Hold on now.
No.
We don't want to investigate this just a little bit.
I would agree with that for the most part, with it being a fine line. For me, though, I think that cancel culture is more harmful than it is helpful. I don't think that not being a likable person should affect your livelihood, because it's not like in criminal offenses only. Like if it's something like hurting a child, sexually assaulting someone, things that are actual criminal, like this morally wrong, everything about it, I understand being canceled. But because you say something that hurt my feelings, that doesn't make sense to me. I don't feel like that should affect your livelihood. Just don't watch my shit. Don't log into my shit. Unfollow me, bro. That's fine. You don't have to cancel me. I'ma still let me live my life. I'm just not for you. I'm not the celebrity for you. That doesn't mean that my kids shouldn't eat. That you don't know how many people celebrities are taking care of. You don't know if y'all just see them and they're making this money or they're on TV. And first of all, famous does not mean rich. Famous does not mean rich. I have almost 1 million followers on TikTok. I have done all kinds of things. I'm known. People know me. But my bank account is not where I would like it to be because these people know me. Just because you know me does not mean that you are responsible for paying my bills, right? I don't think that not being likable should affect my livelihood, should affect how I feed my children, should affect how I pay for my mother's house, should affect how I, help my brother, through college. I don't think it should affect that. If you don't like me, don't like me. That's fine. But to cancel me because you don't like the way that I said something, that doesn't teach me anything but how to hustle, because now I got to try and get my money back up. It didn't teach me to empathize with your situation. It didn't educate me on what I said or what I did that was wrong. If I say something and you deem it as anti-Semitic, tell me what's anti-Semitic about it. Tell me the history that I missed, right? If I have my information wrong, and yes, I'll go and look it up. I'll go and Google it. I'll do the work myself. But after you tell me, hey, that actually doesn't work. That actually is offensive because this many people died, or this many people did this, or this many people blah, 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 so that I can now move forward with the knowledge and the wisdom that you have given me. But don't just decide that because I was ignorant and I didn't have that information that I am unworthy of food. Like, what's wrong with you?
But I think that's where the minutia comes in. The little conversations in between is some people aren't as open-minded as you. They have their points and they double down on it. Like when the baby was spewing all that hate speech at his concert, which there was probably gay people supporting him at the concert.
Mm-hmm. But that's what I'm saying. When it comes to cancel culture, we have to be really careful whose hands it's in, because there are some people out here utilizing people's passions and people's pains, and they're turning it into a weapon. You are weaponizing your emotions, and that's not fair. That's not fair to people who are creatives, because we don't all think alike. We don't all think like you. And we should all be having conversations that help us grow as a society, instead of speaking into echo chambers and only speaking to people who have the same perspectives as we do, only speaking to people who know the same people that we do, only supporting the celebrities that we in this room all know and support. You won't meet anybody new. You don't learn anything new. You don't grow in that aspect. And we can't grow as a community if we are all yelling into the same echo chamber.
Yeah, but I would also say that it's a difference between having an opinion about something and hate speech.
I would agree with that.
No, but when I was just on the DaBaby example. His was hate speech. It wasn't just an opinion. So when comedians give their opinions or try to make you laugh with something that might be offensive, I don't have a problem with that at all. Because we could walk around offended all damn day, but when people are hateful with their speech, that's different. That's when we need to hold them accountable and hold their feet in pockets to the fire.
Okay, so in your opinion, what are some alternatives to cancel culture that could achieve the same goals? Like for the people that you said were unjustified in their cancellation, what are some ways that you think we as a community could have held them accountable and felt justified in that without cancel culture?
Giving them an opportunity to explain themselves and listening to their opinion. Because like I said with Dave Chappelle, if people would have actually listened to what he was saying and just heard something that triggered them and turned it off, or heard something that triggered them and then listened with a different ear afterwards, they would have heard everything that he said and said, oh, okay, he does understand us. He does get us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Instead of looking for offense. I agree with that. I think that education, for one, is a way that we can achieve those same goals. Like I just said, notifying someone that what they said is wrong. Because if you're speaking to an echo chamber, like say I have one view on Nicki Minaj and you're my best friend, what I tell you about Nicki Minaj is not the information that you have on Nicki Minaj unless you are also following Nicki Minaj. The only information that we have is the information we're sharing with each other because we don't actually know Nicki Minaj. Right? So educating or looking for sources outside of that echo chamber, outside of your immediate friend or family group or whatnot, can really help educate you on some things that you may not be privy to, and then you can bring that knowledge back to your echo chamber. I also think that having open dialogue without ego is very important to the progress of us being able to have open conversations. A lot of people go into conversations with their point, and the whole point of having this conversation is to change your mind or to prove that you're wrong. I'm right, you're wrong. But if you remove the ego from it and just go into it trying to understand what the other person is saying, I think that we can get a lot more stuff done. I think that we would be a lot more understanding, a lot more patience. If you gave people the grace that you expect when you make a mistake, I think that we would be on our way to not only a better just culture amongst ourselves, but to a better society as a whole. Forgiveness is necessary because mistakes are how we learn and we grow as a people. We didn't learn how to walk until we first learned how to crawl. You had to stand up and bust your butt a couple times, fall backwards. You had to hold on to the couch a little bit. You had to make your mistakes. You had to try to run and realize that you didn't have your balance. Mistakes are how we continue to learn. So when people make one, correct them and we can move on. Now, if they continue to make it, that is when I feel cancel culture can be implemented. But when you make a mistake, I feel like there should be a conversation. We should at least give you an opportunity to explain what happened for us to tell you why it was wrong.
They have to be willing to listen.
I agree with that. Should people be held accountable for actions or statements made in the past, even if they no longer hold those values?
If they learn from them.
But how do we determine if they've learned from them or not? Like with the Kevin Hart situation, right? People brought up 8 to 10 years prior of tweets that he made that he thought were funny 8 to 10 years ago, right? And he ended up losing being able to host the Oscars because of it, because people were so outraged of something that this man tweeted 8 to 10 years ago. I don't think that was justified. I don't think that was fair. You have no idea where that man's mindset is. His children were young as all get out or unborn at that time, depending on how old they are now. I'm not sure. But parenting alone, there are so many different things that happen in just 1 year of things that you learn and things that you grow from. Why would you think that after 8 to 10 years that is still something that he needs to be punished for today? I think that that's weird to me, and that's where the forgiveness comes in. Our community is so quick to cut people off and hold them accountable for those type of things. But if somebody brought up the you that you were 10 years ago, would you be proud of that you? If somebody brought up the you that you were 8 years ago and every decision that you made, we dissected it under a microscope, would you be proud of the you that you were back then and the decisions that you made? You have to be willing to give people grace and expect and trust that they are growing just as you are growing as an individual. I don't think that was fair to Kevin Hart at all.
Me either. I totally agree. Because if you pull up some of my old tweets, I just said some crazy stuff. That's why I got off of Twitter.
Stupid.
I looked at my misspellings and I'm like, girl, you got a master's degree. What the hell is this?
Facebook will send me a reminder of some stuff that I was tweeting when I was in college, and I was like, how did I get to college? Like, what? Why did they accept me? And these were the thoughts that I had. Hell, even I'm 31 now. There were decisions I was making in my late 20s. You know, Facebook will bring up something just from 3-4 years ago, and I'm like, wow.
I said that.
Wow, thank God for growth. Thank God for growth. Delete. Right? I'm like, let me go back to where that was and actually delete it, because it was extremely ignorant or extremely offensive or extremely stupid or extremely immature, and there was no reason. But I'm so glad that I've grown out of that space. But with that being said, I am a comic now. And if y'all come to me in 20 years with some shit that I posted on Twitter in 2014, hopefully I've grown out of cursing people out by that point. Okay.
Nah, you won't, because we're going to be some cursing grandmas.
Yeah, I'm like, hopefully I've grown out of cursing people out by that point, because you're going to get met with some ego. Because why are you that far back on my page?
That is true.
For starters. Do you know how long you got to scroll to get that many years back on my page?
People just be looking for stuff, though. Honestly, if you 8 years ago in Kevin Hart's Twitter, you are looking for something.
Exactly. You were looking for something, yeah, and you found it, and it was ridiculous. It was ridiculous.
He shouldn't have been
so
canceled.
You say no. Should people be held accountable for actions and statements made in the past, even if they no longer hold those views?
But we can tell Kevin Hart's evolution, right?
Mm-hmm. But everybody can't. We can. I feel that we're a little bit more emotionally mature than a lot of the people that we just randomly run into, in my personal opinion. Do you think that everyone is able to tell? Because they still tried to cancel that man. He lost his Oscars thing for that.
Was that white folks or was that us?
I have no idea.
I don't think it was us. I'm gonna be honest.
I feel like we, as far as us, were more offended that he cheated on his wife.
Yeah.
We were more mad at the infidelity.
But we weren't gonna cancel him for that though either.
Yeah,
we was just
true.
like, damn, Kev, that's fucked up. You gotta fix that.
Yeah.
You gotta take that L. You gotta fix that, my man. My boy.
I agree. I feel like we as a community were like, you messed over your wife way quicker than we were. What was his tweet over? Was it over LGBTQIA?
Oh, yeah, he was,
his kid. Yeah, his kid, that's gay or whatever.
Yeah,
that's what it was. It was something
yeah.
like that, yeah.
If my kid was gay, I would do something crazy to him.
I feel like everybody has a member in their family that says some off-the-wall shit like that, though. And I feel like they attacked him because they can't attack Uncle Ted. Like, they attacked him because they can't attack Nana, right? You did that shit because you can't attack Auntie Gina. Like, y'all
got to start setting some hard boundaries and make people apologize, man.
Holding celebrities accountable when you can't even hold your friends and your family accountable. That's one thing for sure.
Bingo.
How do you think cancel culture affects the ability to hold meaningful and productive discussions on topics like race, gender, religion, and sexuality?
Honestly, we have to listen to one another, first of all, and having an open mind is the main key to it all. A lot of conversations that we go into is I have my opinion and there's no way that you can change my mind or make me feel the way you feel. And I don't think that's the way to approach any conversation. I think you should have an open mind on everything you enter, because someone could have lived an experience that you haven't and can give you insight on why they tick like that or why this works that way.
I think cancel culture, as far as its effect on those conversations, that's why I ended up building the following that I have on TikTok, is because I said this is going to be a safe space, and if they kick us off of here, then they kick us off. But I literally opened my platform and opened my inbox to questions that most people would think are taboo. And you'd be surprised how many white women are asking if they can get braids. How many white people are asking why certain things are offensive. Some of them are really good questions. Some of them are stupid and ones that you could definitely look up yourself and do the work on. But I knew that was going to happen when I opened my platform to that. I knew that there were going to be some questions that other people deemed stupid. I knew that there were going to be questions that I deemed stupid. But I also knew that if I was going to sign on to be one of the people that doesn't say, it's not my job to educate you on me, because what I feel is if we say that and it's not my job to educate you, we're trusting that the sources that you go and try and find that education are going to teach you what I would have taught you. And I feel that I am a much better teacher than the internet sometimes, because I feel like our books are being whitewashed. I feel like a lot of our systems are being whitewashed. I feel that why would you trust a system that's already erased a large amount of our history to teach them about our history? Right? So I feel that cancel culture affects us being able to have these conversations because it puts ego in front of understanding. And if you want to have this conversation, I'm willing to have this conversation. But if you offend me, then you're done. Well, then we don't need to have this conversation. We're done now, because I guarantee you that if I don't understand what it is that we are talking about, something that I say is going to seem ignorant or dismissive to you. But if you come into this conversation hoping to understand where I'm from and looking to have me understand you, and not be on your side, just understand where you're coming from. I think that we could have so many amazing conversations and so many amazing progressive results in modern day society. But that's just me. I guess I believe that mistakes are our way to that gateway, are our way to, I don't know, are our way to better. I feel that making mistakes and guiding each other with grace and removing ego in these conversations is the way to make that work.
I agree. That's why I called you such a wise person, because you've lived like 3 lives within your 31 years. She has done a lot, been through a lot, experienced a lot, and that is why I appreciate her opinion so much on different things, is because she lived a lot of this shit.
I very much so have. I've experienced a lot in just 31 years of life. But that's another reason why when I say I'm writing my comedy and things, I'm like, no, these are real stories. Like when I get on stage,
oh, no, they real.
These are real stories. These are real things that have happened to me, because I am who I am. I don't know what it is about me that attracts these super crazy interactions. But I'm grateful. I'm grateful to have lived through them, the traumas and all. My final question for you today, JD, is in today's society, do you think it's possible to separate an individual's work or achievements from their personal beliefs or actions? Why or why not?
It's a very fine line again. And I think so the example that I want to touch on is the difference between R. Kelly and Dr. Dre. So R. Kelly, he was out here doing what he was doing, we all know. But he was also putting the messaging in his music. He called himself the Pied Piper. He was recording these interactions with these underage girls, y'all, to keep as his prized possessions. Me and my friends had a copy of the tape in high school. Yeah, we had a copy. We shouldn't have, but we did. So that for me is the most high on the disrespect and wrong list. You just wrong, my nigga. So the difference between him and Dr. Dre was making great music and producing great music and going home as a different person, leaving all of that at the studio and going to do what he did. Now, I think there's also different levels of cancellation. R. Kelly's canceled completely. Dr. Dre, I'm still going to listen to Eminem and stuff that he produced. I'm not going to feel the type of way about it. But I think that's the difference in separating their achievements and their art versus who they are. R. Kelly, it intertwined so much. And he almost indoctrinated people with his music, being called the Pied Piper. That I can't rock with that at all.
Well, we're getting ready to start wrapping up here, guys. But my opinion on that is, I think not being able to separate an individual's work and achievements from their personal beliefs and morals is dangerous, especially to us creatives. And my example was MLK and Christopher Columbus. Most people in our community, we look at Martin Luther King like he's this martyr. He's this wonderful person. Martin Luther King was a great advocate. You can be great at your job and a horrible fucking human being. I am not saying that he was a horrible human being, but he did some things that we would find questionable in today's society. We were all coming at Kevin Hart for cheating on his wife. Martin Luther King was known not only as a misogynist and as a sexist, but he was known for his adultery. Cheater. He was known for having multiple, extramarital activities and whatnot, but still being an activist. And we were able to separate back then the difference between what you do for us and what you do for you. right? What you believe for you. We were able to separate those two things, right? So I think that it's dangerous today not to being able to separate them, because we tearing down statues of people now because of what they believed in back then. Like, fuck what it is that you accomplished for this country. Fuck what it is that you did for the war. Fuck what it is that you did with the soldiers. You were a shit human being, therefore your statues are coming down and we'll no longer celebrate your holidays type shit. Now don't get me wrong, because right, we're like, nah, because you were a messed up person. Your morals don't align with what we think now. So I think that it's really dangerous, because I don't think people would be down for taking down Martin Luther King statues because of his moral beliefs back then, right? So I think it can be a little hypocritical. And with that being said, that is it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed our conversation. Make sure you email us, comment. We want to see what your opinion was, and we'll catch you next Thursday at 4.